Here's the thing, I'm not going to mock someone for having an accent. Melania was born in Slovenia. English is not her first language. She claims to speak 5 languages, though I've personally never heard her speak any language other than English and her native Slovenian. But what I will point out is the profound hypocrisy. This is the first lady of the most anti-immigrant administration in American history. Her husband's ICE agents are tearing families apart, separating mothers from children, detaining people who have lived in America their entire lives. And yet, Melania, an immigrant who came here under questionable visa circumstances, who benefited from chain migration, who struggles to read a children's book in English after living here for nearly 30 years, she gets a pass. Let me show you what I mean. In November 2025, a woman named Bruna Caroline Ferreira was driving to pick up her 11-year-old son from school in Massachusetts. Suddenly, a swarm of unmarked vehicles surrounded her. ICE agents arrested her without a warrant. She was shipped to a for-profit detention center in Louisiana, thousands of miles from her child. Bruna had come to America from Brazil when she was 6 years old. She grew up here. She played on her high school tennis team. She built a small business. She raised her son. She was in the process of getting a green card. And here's the thing that makes this story particularly relevant tonight. Bruna's son, his aunt, is Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. Bruna had been engaged to Caroline Leavitt's brother, Michael. They had a child together. Bruna chose Caroline to be her son's godmother over her own sister. And when ICE came for Bruna, separating her from the nephew of the White House press secretary, the Trump administration called her a, quote, criminal illegal alien. When Bruna finally got out on bond and appeared on CNN, she was asked what she would say to Caroline Leavitt. Her response was devastating. She said, quote, I think what I would have to say to Caroline is just because you went to a Catholic school doesn't make you a good Catholic. You're a mother now. How would you feel if you were in my shoes? Bruna spoke eloquent, articulate English. She's lived here since she was 6 years old. She built a life. She raised a son. And she was torn away from her child while driving to pick him up from school. But Melania Trump, who received a questionable Einstein visa, who benefited from chain migration, who struggles to read a children's book aloud, she remains in the White House, protected, untouchable. That's not the only time Melania's borrowed words have gotten her in trouble. Let me take you back to July 2016, the Republican National Convention. Melania Trump takes the stage to deliver her first major speech as the wife of the Republican nominee. She talks about the values her parents taught her, about working hard for what you want in life, about how your word is your bond. It was moving. It was personal. And it was almost word for word from Michelle Obama's 2008 Democratic National Convention speech. Side-by-side comparisons showed passage after passage matching almost exactly. The Trump campaign initially denied any plagiarism. Campaign chairman Paul Manafort actually said, quote, to think that she'd be cribbing Michelle Obama's words is crazy. But eventually, a Trump Organization speechwriter named Meredith McIver came forward to take the blame. She said Melania had read her Michelle Obama's speech as an example of what she liked, and McIver accidentally included the passages verbatim. Think about what that means. Melania Trump liked Michelle Obama's speech so much she wanted to copy it. The wife of the man who spent years pushing the racist birther conspiracy against Barack Obama admired Michelle Obama's words so much she plagiarized them. And the Trump campaign's response was to deny, deflect, and eventually blame a staffer. No accountability, no consequences. Let me leave you with 3 things tonight. First, Melania Trump benefited from an immigration system that her husband is now systematically destroying. She received an Einstein visa that experts say she may not have qualified for. She used chain migration to bring her parents here. And now she stands silently while families are torn apart for doing exactly what she did. Second, the newly released Epstein files show Donald Trump was far more entangled in that world than he's ever admitted. The photographs, the emails, the novelty condoms with his face on them in Epstein's estate. This isn't a passing acquaintance. This was a relationship. Third, there is a profound and undeniable hypocrisy at the heart of this administration. Bruna Ferreira, who came here as a 6-year-old, who raised her son as an American, who chose the White House press secretary to be her child's godmother, was torn from her family. But Melania Trump remains protected, and through it all, Donald Trump refers to his own son as her boy. What happens next is up to us. The Epstein files are still being released. Democrats on the Oversight Committee say they've only reviewed a fraction of the 95,000 photos. There are FBI witness interviews that have never been made public. There are questions that demand answers. Democracy doesn't defend itself. It depends on people paying attention. It depends on people demanding accountability. It depends on people refusing to accept one set of rules for the powerful and another for everyone else. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on because this story is far from finished. The Epstein files are still coming. The investigations are ongoing. And the truth, no matter how hard they try to bury it, has a way of coming out. I'll be watching, and so should you.